now talking about what? Advocacy for change. And the way we go about these advocacies can make or may what? The process of change, irrespective of the topic or the issue at hand that we are advocating for. Our approaches matter so much when it comes to the issue of advocacy. And then the second bullet point says, the aim of advocacy is to create or change policies, change laws, regulations, distributions of resources, or other decisions that affect people's life. Majority of the advocacy, or if not all, that you hear this person has gone for an advocacy, this group of people, this set of individuals are advocating for this particular thing, mostly lies down around these items: policy change, laws, regulations, distributions of resources, and other decisions that affect people's life. Majority of the things that we're advocating is what? To improve our own either well-being, is to improve a particular aspect in our lives that is not working well. And that is why we feel it's better for us to advocate. And when we advocate, what do we get? We tend to see this issue that we have been battling with changed for the better. And that is the reason why we advocate. And can we go to the next slide? Sorry. Yes. And then we have these definitions of advocacy. As you rightly said in the chat comment box, a lot of you have the idea of what this advocacy is all about. Now we are going into the technical section of why we need to advocate. And then we said the definition of this advocacy. One is an activity by an individual or group that aims to influence decisions within political, economy, and social institutions. So in everything we do, these are the aspects that we are looking at, because basically anything that will influence decisions within political, some of the health issues that we have, some of the educational issues that we have, some of the service improvement issues we have lies down around who? The politicians, because we are now in the aspect of what? Political differentiation. And then these politicians have so much in stake for us. That is why we are targeting them as what? As our target audience for advocacy. And then for economy, what is this economy that we are talking about? We are talking about the inflation that now is currently we are battling with in this country. A lot of other things that are falling apart economically. We need to advocate as young people, as agents for change, to see how this thing will be resolved without our parent or even us passing through hardship and all of that. And then the next thing we said, and social institutions. We have a lot of other things socially that is not working well in this country. And then how can we make this thing work? The only thing is by taking a step. And this taking of step, we have to take a step through what? Through advocacy. And advocacy, when we come down, we will see the categories of or channels of advocacy. Advocacy, the second bullet point, means taking action to create what? Change. Somebody mentioned something related to this in the comment chat. We are taking action to what? To create change. There are things that are working not the way we want. We are not pleased with the way things are going. And then we want to what? To see this change. And that is why the topic says advocacy for change. And then the next thing we say, advocacy is working with other people and organizations to make a difference. We must, there are columns or instances that you as an individual can advocate. But most of the times we encourage people coming together, either more than one or two, or identifying yourself with an institution or organization that will support you in conducting or carrying out this advocacy. And then the next thing we say, what? Advocacy can mean many things, but in general, it refers to taking action. As I earlier stated before, taking action, and I underline it because that is the most important thing. You cannot just sit down on your comfort zone, lie down on your bed, and then you think, I'm an advocate, without you taking an action. You must go out to take an action. And then we say advocacy simply involves what? Speaking and acting on behalf of yourself or others. We must always talk about those that cannot speak for themselves. Next. And then we said this same advocacy is a process. And then it's a process over time because you cannot exhaust all that you have on a particular issue. And I think the best I could recall from between 1999 to date, ASU have embarked on strike more than how many times? About 16 or thereabout times. And then this is an issue. It's a process. And then so long as they are embarking on this strike, a lot of other individuals are what? Are advocating. And then it means some other individuals that have started advocating for improved educational sector in Nigeria may have retired. And some of them are still there. But now we are talking about what? It's a process over time. You cannot just go out for an advocacy once and you think, as I finish this advocacy, tomorrow the result is there. No, it doesn't work that way. It takes time. It takes time and it's a process. And then we say what? Advocacy is a strategy. You cannot just go and start yarning, start shouting and all of that to say you are advocating. No, you have to sit down either individually or collectively as a group, as a team. You have to strategize. You have to bring out step-by-step activities that you intend to carry out to achieve this desire because what? There is a need in my community. And since there is this need, I have to do what? I have to strategize. And then after strategizing, that is when you do what? You carry out your advocacy. It's a well-designed activity targeted to decision for policymakers. I said it, decision makers and policymakers are our key target audience. Decision makers could be your village head, could be your emir, could be your local government chairman and all of that. And policymakers, all of these lawmakers that we have, some of these government parastatals and all of that, those are the policy makers that we have to identify with them and then to target our advocacy to them. It's directed in influencing policy, laws, regulations, programs, or funding. Next slide. And then we say types of advocacy. Are we all together?
Yes, sir, we are, sir.
Okay, great. So we said types of advocacy. We talked about self-advocacy. I mentioned it earlier that you can advocate on behalf of people by yourself. So taking action to represent what? And advance your own interests. Some other individuals, you see them at times, especially following these politicians. Sir, are you in the office? I want to come and see you. He will go, but his own advocacy message is, sir, I want to marry. Sir, I want to do this. Sir, because it's personal. It's self-advocacy. And then it's not wrong. You can go and advocate for something that you so desire. And then that one is there. And then we have what? Peer advocacy. Peer advocacy is taking action to represent the rights and interests of someone other than yourself. When you are advocating on behalf of someone other than yourself, it's peer advocacy. And then at this process, and that is where a lot of other things that civil society organizations, interest groups are doing falls around this peer advocacy. Because at this juncture, you go out to advocate on behalf of someone that is in need or on behalf of a particular community that you identified that has a peculiar problem that desire change or something. And when you go out as individuals, as group, this is what we call what? The peer advocacy. You take this action to solicit, to plead, to lobby on behalf of a particular community or institution or a particular clan. And then we say system advocacy, taking action to influence social, political, and economic system to bring what? About change for groups of people. This system advocacy, there are a lot of things that are not working in terms of policies. I think at some, on many occasions, I can recall Mr. Shawn, one of the key participants here, or should I say participant? No, facilitator, has always been yearning and calling that it is important to have a youth commission in each of these states. And then this is what? A system advocacy. If this advocacy scale through, we will now have what? A system that is being put in place that youth will rally around this particular system. And then when youth rally around this particular system, what will happen? We will have developmental achievement for young people. Because in the whole of this commission, the only thing that the youth will be, the commission will be doing or thinking is youth-related interventions and programs. Aside that, nothing more. And then this system advocacy, we can identify as individuals, groups, a particular system that is not working well. Could it be a health system? Could it be an educational system? Or what have you? Identify this system and then what? Advocate for that particular system. We have legal advocacy, taking action to use attorneys and the legal or administrative system to establish or protect legal rights. We are talking about gender-based violence. Like this is what has been ringing since late last year through this year. Now, as advocates, as youth, we've been passing through this, or our siblings, our relatives, our community people, or what of you, may have undergone through series of this emotional trauma due to what? Rape, abuse, or name them. And then we can what? We can team up as young people to say, okay, now we have a problem. And then we need to what? To advocate on behalf of these individuals that cannot help themselves. And then the advocacy has to do what? With what? It's a legal advocacy. You can tag yourself as legal advocates. You can tag yourself as whatever you feel is best for you. And then you advocate on behalf of a legal issue that needs what? A system review or system upgrade. Yes? We said, who is an advocate? I wish I could ask this question, but we don't have time. I think you gave me 1 hour, right? Yes. Okay. Who is an advocate? We say individuals who are convinced about an issue. It's not everybody that you see him blowing grammar in television or radio stations that is an advocate. Because some of them, they are only promoting their interests. But now we are saying what? Someone that is convinced about an issue. If you are convinced that our university sector is in trouble, then you are an advocate, because from there, you start thinking of where and how to go about taking actions to solve this problem or to advocate for this particular problem. And then we say what? Strongly support the issue. An individual who strongly support this issue is an advocate. We say an individual that is determined to share their what? Satisfaction and conviction with others. There are other individuals I can say that like Mr. Nicholas, I don't know whether he's on this call. He is someone that is always determined to share his own way or perspective with someone. And then when he shares with you, you start thinking through that particular idea that he shared with you. And from there, you can now come up with what? With a strategy. And from there, now, okay, the action have commenced. Before you know it, you'll be there, and advocacy can take place. And we say what? An individual that have the ability to speak out and to influence others toward an action. There are individuals that, well, I can say they are very good when it comes to articulating or analyzing an issue. But there are some few individuals that cannot speak during a gathering or when they go out for an advocacy. I'm still particular, or interested in this issue of ASU, the federal government strike. And let me speak there. Particularly, I don't know how many of you have watched this video that went viral of NAV's national president, where he met with the Honorable Minister for Education. And he was speaking to him morally. I can say the educational minister should equally be like his father. And to some extent, the way he was talking to the minister, morally, I can say, personally, I can say it was wrong, because you went there to advocate. You went there to intercede on behalf of other students to see how this issue will be resolved. But then you were raising your voice, you were shouting on top of your voice to someone that is older enough to be either your uncle or your father. And it makes the whole thing look so childish. When you go out for an advocacy, you don't behave in such a manner. You have to compose yourself. You have to identify, if I am particularly or directly affected by this issue, then I shouldn't be the one to speak. Let's appoint someone within the team that can be able to communicate well, that can be able to speak out my mind, but in a more formal way, in a manner that it will be acceptable by the target audience that we are targeting. But when you go there, you are behaving, you are a comrade, because I believe most of us are young people, and then some of us have this attachment to our names that we are comrades, we are comrade, we are comrade. And then when you go out there, you started shouting because you feel you are comrade. Comrades in school would actually be different from you behaving as a comrade when you go out for advocacy. So let's get this thing very straight, because we are at some point we tend to mix it up. Aluta is different from what? From advocacy. You can do your aluta on the street, you can do your aluta in the campus, but once, if you are meeting with a target audience, someone that you are advocating because you want to see a policy change or any other change that you can remember, you don't have to approach that person rudely. You have to be calm. Even if you know you are emotionally attached to that particular issue, allow somebody that is calm to speak on your behalf. And then we say what? An individual that is ready to mobilize human and financial resources for successful advocacy on an issue. There are some individuals that are very good in resource mobilization. If you need 20,000, just tell, let's say, Godwin. I saw someone like Godwin on this group or platform. Let's say we can identify Godwin. Godwin is very good in what? In resource mobilization. And Daniel Tugai is very, very good in what? In human mobilization. And then you identify the strengths of individuals based on what they can offer, and then attach a certain responsibility to these individuals. Tell this person that, okay, you'll be responsible for what? For financial mobilization. We need to go to Abuja for an advocacy. We have a senator, we have a rep member, we have a minister, we have some directors from our states that works in Abuja, and we need to go for what? For an advocacy. And then this set of individuals that you've identified, you've given these responsibilities to, they should be the ones to what? To mobilize for these particular resources. So anybody that has this capacity to mobilize for resources is an advocate. You may not really be the one to speak during the advocacy proper, but then you have mobilized resources that is being used for this particular advocacy. Yes. And then we say, why do we advocate? We advocate to what? To build support for a cause. There must always be a problem that we are advocating for. When we identify this problem, we advocate because we want to see what? We want to see support. We want to build support for a particular cause. And then we say what? To encourage others to support our cause. When we are encouraging, when we are embarking on advocacy, we want to see other people that will come and support us for this particular cause. Because we have a problem. We want to see people that will come to us to say, okay, we want to share in this your problem. We want to share in this your issue. And then these are the, why we advocate. And we say to influence what? Reforms. We advocate because we want to see, we want to influence reforms. There are a lot of things that are happening, especially at the state level. Our target is always at the national. We have forgotten about the state. We have forgotten about the local government levels. And you can bear me witness that nothing is working in the local government sector. I can recall when we went to one particular local government, in Bauchi, some years back, we went for a particular program, and then at some point we wanted to print out a document that, because we had some changes in the column of finances, and then we want to reprint a particular document. And it happens that in the whole of that local government, they don't have A4 paper. I can say it anyway because I've been saying this. They don't have A4 paper, like plain paper that we can use to print out a document. And then they don't have fuel or diesel in their generator. We had to what? We had to give them money to buy fuel or diesel for their generator. And then the A4 paper, they had to go out and then I think through the business center or something before they could get the paper that we use. So you can imagine how can this thing work when our systems are not working at the local level. But our attention is always on Buhari. Our attention is always on ministers. Our attention, we have forgotten that most of the problems that we are facing, or some of the problems rather, lies down within the state, within the governors, because the governors have hijacked the local government system, which is not working. And then we need to target this individual. And I can say to some extent, the last week constitutional review process, the National Assembly have given or passed this bill for financial and administrative autonomy to the local government. And if these things scale through, which I feel to some extent the governors will still go through the state assemblies, because the bill will certainly be sent to all the 36 states to deliberate and then pass. And then we must have at least 24 states. When they pass this bill, that is when it becomes partially a law before the president signs. So now we need to advocate at this moment for what? To influence these reforms, because we want to see our local government working. And this is the perfect time for you to start these initiatives. You have to do it. If you really want to see our children and their children smiling and thanking us even after our death, then this is the right time for us to start. And then to make what difference in people's life, to ensure what effective and efficient policy implementation. Next, please. Advocacy approaches. We say what? Know what you are advocating for. Identify the issue. Always, always, always. There is this individual in my village then. I don't know, I don't want to mention it. But whenever you see him, he is working fast, very fast, like faster than any other thing you can think of. Before you know, you see him there, bam. Before you know, you see him there, bam. He works so fast. And then when you ask him, he will tell you, because he's mentally deprived or something, he will tell you that Sauriba Wurinzua Yawani. Him too, that is always faster than what you can ever imagine. He will be telling you that Sauriba Wurinzua Yawani. Now, you have to identify and know this issue that you want to advocate. Do not just go into social media because you're good in writing. Do not just go to the media because you feel your friend is the editor or the whatever they call in the radio media. Do not go in there because what? Without you having the in-depth knowledge of what you are going out to advocate. Please always know the issue in total. There are other things that you may think today you are advocating. Today you feel there is a problem on this particular issue, and then you are planning by next week, Monday, you want to go to and advocate on behalf of this or to advocate for this particular issue. Before that Monday, maybe the government or the individual may have resolved that particular issue or solved the problem. And then you've targeted the individual, you've visited him, you are in his office, and then you are saying, sir, as you may know, community ABC, their transformer has spoiled like 3 years ago. They are not connected to the national grid and all of that. And then he'll be like looking at you, is this guy normal? Did he know what is happening? And then when you finish, or at times they will not even allow you to finish, he will tell you, Oga, didn't you know that over the weekend, we went there and fixed the problem? So, like, you must consistently be getting informations that is relevant to what you are intending to advocate for. And then we say what? It's important to get the beneficiaries of the issue being advocated for involved in the advocacy plan and process. At times we tend to, especially the civil society organizations, we tend to neglect this particular point because we feel we've visited this place once, twice, 3 times, and then we've known their problems. Their problems may not really be what you are thinking, but when you engage them, when you involve them in your process of planning, when you engage them and involve them in the process, they will add so much value to what you are advocating for. Well, they will always be giving you first-hand information on what is happening within them and around their locality. Are we together?
Yes, sir, we are.
Okay, thank you. And then it's important to get these individuals involved in your process. Do not just assume you can speak for them. Do not just assume you can speak for them. Engage them. And one thing it may interest you to know that you see these people that we tag or consider as villagers or community people. At times we tend to be looking down on them. Some of them are very, very intelligent that you can ever think or imagine. I don't know if Nicholas is on this call again, but let me say this. When we were working in Itesgado local government on an educational project, and then part of the mandate that was given to us is to create and form a community-based center management structure. And then we went to a particular community. Do you know what we met in that community? A retired director at the state level. A retired director for education at the state level. Meaning, if you see the community, you may think nothing good will come out of Israel, of this place. And then we found out that there is someone that was a former director. And the way this man speaks, he was so intellectually sound and all of that. And then when you do not carry this community along, thinking that you can go and speak on their behalf, my brother or my sister, you are in trouble. Because some of these things may not really work. a story was given or was told about a particular community. All they wanted was what? Was water, because their children travel miles away to get them water. And at the process, they tend to miss schools, or rather, the school have to be shifted to afternoon session because they cannot go to that stream and come back within a short period of time. So the government did not consult with them. As you know, government, they will just allocate a project to some particular community without actually engaging with the community members. So now the government identify a particular community, and then they've allocated a structure, and the structure is what? Is health facility. Whereas the community believed in one of their their local traditional doctor that usually provides them with the solution to their health. So now they've allocated the health facility, they've built the health facility for them, and then they've fixed a day where the governor will come and commission this health facility. As the governor was coming, the convoy and all of that, the governor noticed the mold houses with this grass roof and all of that was having this red roofing sheet on it. He was like, what is happening? The villagers have gone to that health facility, removed all the roof that is on that health facility and fixed it on top of their houses. Why? This was a protest, because what they desire was not what was given to them. And then for that reason, they protested. And this is the peaceful way of what? Of protesting. And then the governor was like, what is happening? What is happening? They said this was not what they want. They were not consulted. They were not carried along. They only saw what? An engineer with all his trucks and all of that. They started constructing and building the health facility without even consulting with the traditional or the village head. And this is what they want. They need water, not health facility. And it sounds good to me to some extent, because why? They were not carried along. So whenever we want to embark on any advocacy whatsoever, the target audience, they should the beneficiaries should be should be carried along. Let them be involved from the planning stage up to the implementation stage and even the evaluation. And then we say, will the issue be felt by most people? Scale your priority into high, medium, and low. Whenever we are designing anything that has to do with advocacy, let us not put sentiment into it. Let us be rational. Will this thing that we want to advocate benefit majority of our people? If yes, then it's a good one. If 70% of our people will benefit from this particular action that we want to embark on, then it's a good one. But when we say a very few, like it's only my family, the family of Baiko that will benefit from this, sincerely speaking, do not do it, because it's not part of advocacy. And then we say look at the culture and political scenario while designing your advocacy. Political scenario, like in every state now, we have factions. We have the gladiators, the two factions of gladiators that are fighting themselves politically. So now, if you want anything that will come out of this, do not go to this particular person and be saying the other person was supposed to do this, he did that, and do not. It's not your problem. Always consider this. And there are some cultures, especially in this part of the country, that there are some certain things that were all being considered as taboo. So whenever you identify this in a particular community, do not embark on this advocacy unless you've gone out to sensitize and mobilize the individuals to really understand why this thing is important for them. Otherwise, please pipe down. Do not go into this. Next, please. And then we say the process. I'm just going to rush through this, the process, because I think I have to. The process is, what is the issue or problems that need the advocacy, that need an advocacy intervention. We've talked about it. Could it be health? Could it be education? Could it be a high number of dropouts in our communities? Could it be the poor, sitting or condition of our classes and all of that? These are the problems. Then when you know the problems, you identify the problem, then who does it affect? Does it affect me? Does it affect my people? Does it affect the society, the children? Okay, what about their future? Okay, we have more than 1,000 children in my community, and they only have one block of three, one classroom of three, one block of three classrooms. And then this thing is a problem. Then we need to advocate, because more children will be enrolled in the school. And then if the problem is school dropout, what do we need to do to curtail this problem? And then we say what should be done to address it, and what is the objective for such action? Who do we want to reach with our advocacy or campaign intervention? What message could we give to each of the groups identified to make it do what we want? In this particular aspect, it's not every message that is suitable to Mr. A that could be suitable to Mr. B. Please, let's note this. Identify your target audience. There are some individuals that they don't want publicity. Whenever you are targeting them, do not go with publicity. There are some individuals that even if they cough, they want you to publicize it, that this person cough. Identify them, go with publicity. And all these things matters. Next, please. We said we have steps in conducting advocacy. The steps we have is what? The identification of this advocacy issue. I just mentioned some of them. And then we say formulate goals and objectives. In everything you do, if you don't have goal as a person, you are born to fail. Because goals help us to keep us in check. And it helps us to what? To forecast and to work towards our achieving this particular goal we set ahead of us. And then we must identify objectives. Objectives are the ways that we'll follow to reach to this goal. The goal is, I want to be in Lagos on Saturday. And then how do I go to Lagos? Okay, is there canoe from Jos or from Abuja that will take me to Lagos? No. Okay, what are the other means? It's either for me to start trekking, or for me to book flight, or for me to what? To follow the road transport. So these are some of the objectives that I will follow to what? To go to Lagos. And then we talk about what? Identify target audience. Who are your target audience? Do not carry the problems of kingship or traditional leaders and go to what? To your politician. They may not solve your problems. And do not carry the things that has to do with religious and then take it to what? To another politician. He may not solve your problem. Always identify your target audience. And then we say what? Develop the message. When we are developing this message, the message must always be concise. Some of you are very good. You think you are knowledgeable enough, you are educated and all of that. When you are writing a grammar, you are writing a message, you'll be seeing some big grammars written on the message. And then in advocacy, you don't need all those things. You don't need them. Just be concise, be simple, write in layman language or terms that someone can easily see, relate, and understand what you are saying. And then we say what? Building support. We must always look for support. Do not think you know it all. In everything you do, look for people that either have the experience or people that can support you. We talked about resources. Either people that can support you through finances, through human resource, through whatever means that they have. Identify this because they are your support team. And then we say what? Develop action plan. In everything you do, you must have a plan. You must have an action plan. On this day, today is what? Today is March 9th. We are holding this particular program. Then by March 27, we want to finish this particular program. And then between now to March 27, what are the processes? What are the other things that we will do in between these days to achieve our objectives? So this is what why we need to develop an action plan. We say we need resources, and then implementation. We have to implement this the strategy. After implementation, we evaluate. We have to evaluate this strategy, and this evaluation will always be like, in every stage of it, you must evaluate, because you want to keep yourself in check to ensure that what you are doing is actually right, it's actually working, it's actually in line with your goals and objectives. Are we all together? And I think we'll take this question after the whole thing. We have some few things to talk about. Please, next slide. So, how do you identify advocacy issues? We identify advocacy issues through facts. There are things that are just there. They are the reality, they are facts. And we have to identify them. We have research, and then we have data. Data, we can get data like through the health facilities, through schools, a number of people that were enrolled in school, a number of people that dropped out from school, and all of that. We can get our data from there. And then we say personal stories. There are people like, especially the issue of this gender-based violence that I talked about. Personal stories will help us to identify what the problem is. And then it will help us to channel our energy and resources in the right direction. And then we said interviews. At times we go out with we survey questions and then interact with people. We talked about this goal and objectives. Next, go to the next slide. And then we say advocacy approaches and tactics. We have direct interpersonal communication. Direct interpersonal communication, these are like the strategies that you follow to get to your target audience. Direct is when you see with the person one-on-one and you are communicating with the person that this is the problem, and this we feel will be the solution if 1, 2, 3 are being followed duly. And then these people will have their own issues solved. So this is what we call direct or interpersonal communication. And we have the media. And of course, I said we must always get in touch with the media, to people or individuals that likes publicity. Those that don't, please, let us not carry media along. And then we have the social media, which a lot of other people now, they use it as a channel of advocacy and communication. And then we have the newspaper, and then we have flyers. Let's go to the next. Are we there? Yes. And then we said stakeholders categories. This is very, very important. Our stakeholders have been categorized into these categories. One is primary stakeholder. It is the group whose welfare we are trying to improve. That is the beneficiaries. Let's always have this as the number one priority whenever we are embarking on any advocacy. And then the second one, we say the secondary stakeholders. The category of people is also described as supporters. They support program in various ways. It includes implementation of project managers, as they play a major role in the program's success or failure. These categories of individuals are like the civil society organizations, like traditional institutions, like individuals that can support us to actually achieve this, our goal. And then these are the secondary categories of our target. And then we must always identify these people if we want to have a successful advocacy. And then the next thing we say, decision makers. There are individuals within our communities that are decision makers. At times you go to your traditional or village head's palace, you will see one Baba that will sit down there with his agbada and all of that. You may look at him as someone that this person is, we are going to speak in English, he does not hear English and all of that. After you finish, if that same person tells the traditional head or somebody that, Oga, this thing will not work, it's time it will not work. So always identify these decision makers. There are others within the community that they take decision on behalf of the community. You see somebody will just come, help him, and say, I'm the youth leader, and then everything must follow through me. They are decision makers. Work with them whenever you are designing your advocacy. Advisories, the groups of people are opposed to what? To programs objectives. There are this group of people in every society. You are thinking something will benefit this particular community, but the individual, when he weighs it and he notices that he has no benefit from this particular thing that you want to embark upon, he will not support. And then they will go out and be saying, did you see this Bash? All that she knows how to do is to collect money from people that she wants to go for an advocacy, she wants to do this. And then the person will now tarnish all your reputation, spoil your name and all of that. So at the end of the day, when you are thinking of making headway, the people will be like, how much did you collect so much? I mean, so far, can we have the breakdown? From there, you start thinking that something is wrong. Always identify these people. And then we say we have primary targets and secondary targets. The primary target is those group of individuals that we are targeting, the lawmakers, the traditional heads, the religious leaders, the governors, the senators, those people that you can recall, those are our primary target. And then the secondary target, there are other people that are so influential, so powerful. At some point in Bauchi, I think they used to have Kakigomna. These individuals, they are there. They are so powerful that the governor cannot take decision until he consults with them. Target them. They are your secondary target. If that one fails, then they can make it happen for you. Next. How to organize an advocacy. Next. We said there is what? Strength in numbers. Identify the people in your camp and getting them to commit to an advocacy effort. Your first step towards building a powerful organization. We must always identify people by marshalling your allies. Look for people, like minds, people that can support your cause. Next. We say creating what? Coordination structure. Don't think that because you are the one that brought in the idea, everything that will happen during this process and the implementation of the advocacy is correct. No. Always give responsibility to individuals. Create a coordination. This is how we are going to do it. You'll be the chair for this. You'll be responsible for this and all of that. It helps so much. Number 3, we say doing your what? Your homework. Do not just assume that you know it. Be knowledgeable. Know the issue inside out. It will help you so much to have a successful and productive advocacy. Next. And then we say drafting what? Your message. I talked about this. It has to be concise. It has to be simple. It has to be readable. It has to just let it like be straightforward. Do not bring all this big grammar. Let it be clear. Let it be simple that people can read and understand. Next, please. And then we say what? Create a communication network that works. Identify individuals. Do you have people that works with a radio station? Be their friends. Do you have people that work with this? Associate yourself with them. Make them your allies. And then this same individual will help you when the time comes. And then when they are helping you, they will help you on what? With no cost, because they will just, okay, they will follow you as part of your friends, and then they will get a news clip from your advocacy, and they will publicize it to the people at no cost, because what? You have identified with this. So always create network, civil society organization, network of this, network of that. It helps. Cultivate what? The media. Always try to tell the world what you are doing. And until you do that, we may not really understand what you are doing. Next, please. And then we say what? Taking a long view. One of the most fundamental pieces of a solid advocacy effort is what? Understanding that advocacy takes time. I said it's a process over time. Do not just assume that since I'm going out for an advocacy today, the result must be achieved. No, it may take you your entire life. Some people have started advocating for what? For universities since 1999, and up to date. They may have graduated, and some of them are even almost 20 years in civil service work. It's a process. And what? do not just think that because you're going out for an advocacy today, tomorrow, people will start seeing the result. Always have this at the back of your mind. Next, please. And then how to approach policymakers. Always, your goals should be what? Should be clear, specific. Do not just be running about. Walk straight and make it. This is our problem. Always, I say this, always try and develop at least a one-pager note about the problem and the solution you think could be better in this particular issue that you have raised. And then give to the person, your target audience, a copy. Identify his secretary or someone that is close to him. Give him a copy. And then always, always remember this. Whenever you are targeting an individual, try and get somebody's contact that is within the office of that person. That person will help you a lot to either follow up or will help you a lot to tell you when the Oga is around so that you can pay him a visit. Next, please. We talked about questions. Do we have questions, please? And I think we can, I don't know, I have an assignment for them or a group work rather.
Okay.
Vash, is it allowed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think it's the next slide or something. I can't. Yes. So this is like an assignment that you work it out. I don't know how you do it.
They have a working group, 1 to 10. So I think they can work on it in their separate groups.
Okay, great.
But that means the submission will not be now?
Yes, I'm not really saying now. That's
okay.
why I have to say.
Okay, so they have a working group.
Beautiful. So add this assignment to that working group, and then we can review it after the class. Not really today. Thank you. So can I now entertain some? I don't know how you do it, Vash. Is it here that I'll get the questions?
Yes, sir.
Or how? Okay, fine.
Yes, sir. They can, you can take few of the questions and just address them so that we can move to the next session.
Okay, great. So please, time for questions.
Please, let's drop our questions in the chat.
Thank you, Farah Praise. Joy, Joshua, thank you. Daniel, thank you. Nora, thank you. Let the questions be coming in, please. Thank you, Damut Victor. Doris, Felix, Stephanos, thank you.
Yeah, Vash, maybe we can give one person opportunity to ask a question.
Is there a difference between advocacy and courtesy visit? From Ramotu. Yes, Ramotu, there is a difference between advocacy and courtesy visit. Courtesy visit, you are going there to identify with the person, either on a particular aspect. Maybe you want to canvass for his support to run for the office of governor of your state. You can decide to pay him a courtesy visit. But when we are talking about advocacy, it's more technical. That is why we talked about you going with a piece of paper that contains the narration and the data of what is happening in a particular community. Advocacy is not is more technical than courtesy visit, because you have to tell him 2,000 children are dying yearly in a particular community, and this is the cause, and this is the cause. So it's actually different. What if the person, sorry. Sorry, I missed the...
There is a question. Let me read it out for you, sir.
Please.
When advocating, Are you advocating to the individual office or the person in the office?
The office is being run by an individual. I don't know, I could have loved to be calling them by their names. The office is being run by an individual. And then sometimes we tend to be like saying, they don't have political will. They don't have political will to implement this, to do this for us. So when you are advocating, do not just advocate to the office, but the individual. Speak to his mind. Tell him that, sir, if you do not do this thing for these people, in the next 5 years to come, we will have no community at this level. We will have no children, because children are dying because of what? Measles or diarrhea or cholera or something. Speak to him. Let him understand that this thing you are talking, he must be the one to take responsibility if something went wrong. So it's the individual.
Okay, let's take one more. But this is from Numshi Blessing.
Okay.
What if the person or stakeholder is a family? Would one be needing all the processes?
Blessing, thank you. If the stakeholder is a family, it's an easy, you have now easy access to that particular individual. But then do not do it alone. Always canvass for this set of individuals we've mentioned. Because the reason why you are canvassing for it, when you go as an individual, he knows you, he'll be like, Blessing, you've started again. But when you come with some different faces that he has either known or has never seen, when you are talking to him, he will take it more serious than going alone. And when you go alone, you take it like it's just a casual way of maybe talking about something. But when you go with people, it makes it carry weight.
Okay, so there is one I just saw.
Okay.
This is from Ahmed Tijani Ibrahim.
Yes.
He said, what's the difference between advocating and criticism?
Criticism is actually, should I say, a political way of addressing some issues politically. When you are advocating, whenever you criticize, you can see the video that I talked about of a minister. The nurse person was criticizing the minister as a person, not even the government. He was saying they've seen a video or a picture of the minister with his son schooling or graduating from another school. You are now attacking the person. You are criticizing the person that you went there to seek for his intervention into the situation that you found yourself. And now you are attacking him. Sincerely, you can hear this response of the minister. He said, in all you've mentioned, I only have one thing that I picked. I can recall this vividly. And then aside that, of inclusion of NAS into the negotiation table, aside that, any other thing is rubbish. And I'm telling you, every other thing that guy mentioned that day will not be implemented. Because what he criticized and attacked the individual. When you are going there, you are going to solicit, to lobby, to plead on behalf of people. And when you are pleading on behalf of someone, you don't go there arrogantly. You have to be what? To be more composed. And that is why I say, if you are emotionally attached to it, allow somebody to speak.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Boyko. This was really an interesting session.
Sorry, let me answer this.
Okay.
Ankun Ibrahim must be under a recognized organization or platform, registered organization. No, Mr. It may not really be under a registered organization. You can identify yourselves as a concerned group of your community, and then you can advocate on behalf of your community through this concerned group. But the reason why we are saying you should identify with the NGOs or the civil society organizations is the fact that they will keep record of what is happening, and they can help you to go to other lands to advocate on your behalf when you are not there. Because they have their own team, they have their own coalition, they have their own body that they come together most of the times to what? to advocate on behalf of some certain service delivery issue. So please, it may not really be through a registered organization. Thank you. So thank you, Vash.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. We really appreciate, sir. The knowledge was something else. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, we are moving straight to the next session. And the next person that will be coming up is Mr. Nicholas Afeso Osoda, the Executive Director for Littletot Development Initiative. He is the Executive Director, and then he is a Community Mobilization Specialist. I want to assure you that you will not regret this particular session because you will be drawing as well from his wealth of experience. Sir, you're welcome, sir. If you're here, you can unmute yourself. Sir, the floor is yours. You're welcome, sir. Hello, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Vash. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so very much. I appreciate every one of you for being part of this training. And thank you, Mr. Beko, Master himself, who just left a very, very big shoes. And I hope I'll be able to do justice to this very session. Thank you so very much. I appreciate every one of you. And I just want to draw your attention to, let me be quick in saying this, that I've been seeing all your chat messages and your chats on your WhatsApp. And for that, I want to recognize two persons. There's this Nasara Melody, and who has taken it upon herself to be answering other people's query and providing solution. Thank you so very much for doing that. And Haruna, thank you for, you immediately apologize. You immediately apologize, and after seeing your fault, I think these are two persons that I want to actually pick out from events going on that platform. So well done, guys. Sometimes you keep the criticism coming through so that I'll be able to get proper documentation to you. So thank you so very much. I'm here. My name is Nicholas Oshoja, and I'm here to do justice to community mobilization. Can I have my slides, Rush? Hello.
Hello. Can you see my screen, sir?
Okay, not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still seeing Beko's slide. Okay.
Can you see it now?
Yes, yes, I can.
Okay.
Yes. So thank you so very much. The next, when you hear the word community presentation as follow, what is community, why community mobilization, the benefits of community mobilization, and the roles, the role of community mobilizers. And so these are some of things that we'll be taking home after this training. And so what comes to your mind when you hear the word community? Can somebody just, can I read from the chat? When you hear the word community, when you hear the word community, what comes to your mind? Okay, somebody said She just wants to see my face. Okay, somebody said a group of people. Yes. Okay, so Patience E. Odu, can you see my face now? Okay, so let me see them going. What comes to your mind when you hear the word community? Okay, so it's a place where Olga Cecilia, a group of people with common goals. Haruna Tata is a place where a group of people live, a group of people living in the same place or having a particular characteristics in common, a group of individuals. That's Ambassador Bashir. Peace, T, you always say, a location where a group of people are. You always say, I want to ask you, are you related to Samuel Usaya, you always say? Okay, Fimbong said a group of people living together, a group of people with common desire. Thank you so very much. I appreciate this. Thank you. I think you are all correct. You are all correct. So next slide, please. Yeah, so a community is a set of people living together with common interests. And I believe so many of us have got this right. A community is a set of people living together with a common interest. And we went further to say we are all living in a community. We all live in a community. So, and there are one or two things that have bound us together, right? And so on this platform, we can equally say we have formed a community already. Excuse me, we have formed a community already. So we are a group of people with common interests. Littletot has bound us together. This Zoom it's another thing that has bounded us together. We speak almost the same language because every one of us is hearing each other now. So we have some of these things that have brought us together, and then we identify them as one: beliefs and values, language, territory, religion, culture, and occupation. So these are so many things that have brought us together. These are some of the values that have kept us together as a community. So these are people living together with common interests. So that is a community, and which all of us are correct in that aspect. And what comes to your mind again when you hear the word mobilization? When you hear mobilization, what do you understand by the word mobilization? Can we go back to our chart again? What is mobilization? Not community mobilization now, but the word mobilization. Sorry, I've seen people raising up their hands. Can you just put down your hand first? Maybe after you raise it up later on, please. Fatima Mustafa, you can see your hand. Can you just drop your hand for a while, please? So that later on you'll be given room to speak. We are yet to see some community member faces. Okay. Okay, Olga Cecilia again said bringing together. I'm talking about mobilization now. Beautiful. Bringing together. Mobilization is a process of making something capable of movement. Thank you, Hawa Sayo, right? Sorry if I got that wrong. You always say bringing together. Thank you. Nomshi blessing to put in place. Obadiah Obed, the process of bringing together for action. Beautiful. Thank you so very much. Assembling and reading. Interesting. Mobilization, a process of making idea in action. Very good. Fantastic. So mobilization, bringing together. Yes, bringing together. Gathering, right? It's just a word. Gathering. So what about community mobilization? So community mobilization, and I say, is a process, like somebody have mentioned there, is a process through which action is what stimulated by a community itself or by others, that is planned and is being carried out and is evaluated by a community individual. or groups or organizations on a participatory or sustained basis to improve service levels so as to enhance the overall standard of living in the community. So this is community mobilization. It's a process through which action is what is stimulated. It's a process, you just finished that aspect of advocacy. You have identified an issue in the community, and you have decided to stimulate an action, to bring up something that that will bring an end to an issue, or that will resolve an issue. So you start a process by stimulating an action. Could it be, I like giving an example with our drainages, most especially in front of our houses, that sometimes it's been blocked after taking a bottled water or the pure water nylon, after drinking it, after emptying it, you just throw it on the dash, on the gutter, those drainages. And during the rainy season, these drainages they are blocked, and you begin to experience flood and all the rest. And so what happened? It is an issue that somebody need to identify and stimulate an action by what? By clearing it, or by advocating that we don't need to go this far by littering our communities. You understand? So you begin to mobilize one or two persons to clear up the drainages or the drainage in front of your house, so that during rainy season, what you have experienced last year will not happen this year. So it's an action that you need to start engaging. And you can be one of those change agents that will start a process that will go as long as clearing the whole community or making our environment very, very clean. Why I'm saying all of this is because the executive governor in your state will not come and live with you. When those places are being stuck and you have mosquitoes and they are biting you and you are having malaria, you will be the one to go to the hospital, not the executive director. Not the executive governor of your state. And so we need to take care of our community. So that is why I'm talking about stimulating an action that will bring about sanity, cleanliness, and bring about consciousness of security into your community. So just a picture here that somebody have started mobilization, a community-led action. He has identified one or two persons that will be able to carry out some activities with him. Next, please. It's another picture again that you have, like I used to say, what a man can do, a woman can equally do better. So for you seeing the other man, here is a woman as well, identifying and has identified stakeholders and have brought them together. You could see people taking notes and addressing them. She has been able to gather people. That's what I'm trying to say. She has gathered one or two persons that, okay, maybe the road to our community is faulty, or maybe the school, the school roof has been blown off. So how do we do? This is the era where you go through so many procedures before attaining or before getting a level of development in our communities. But why don't we take action as a community? It's just a roof. Maybe one zinc or two or three or five is blown off. And so why don't we take an action and begin to fix this roofing sheet? It will not cost that much. But when we wait for the government to begin to make quotation, bidding, and for them to come and fix just a sheet of a roof being blown off, it will take eternity. So this is another way to stimulate an action. And because if you don't fix it as an individual or as a community, the school we need to begin to own these infrastructures that are in our place, in our community. When we own them, then we will get value for them. But when we call them government schools or government facilities, then we're not owning them. So we need to own every facilities in our domain. Every facilities in our communities, we need to begin to own them so that we'll be able to take care of them. And it is when it is so more that is big that you begin to go on advocacy level with the government, begin to engage the government to have to come in to help you to address those issues. But there are some little things that you can do, and you can begin to gather people around to have such issues being resolved. Why community mobilization? Why do you why do you have a community mobilization? Why is it that it's necessary that you need to gather people before you take action? Is as a means of a strategy. We say it creates demand for what? For intervention. It creates demand for intervention, increasing access to services. Increase access to services is a scale up of intervention. It's a scale up of intervention and increase effectiveness and efficiency of intervention, contributing additional resources to respond. I'm just going to go through them. So reaching the most vulnerable. Another way is addressing the underlying causes of what? Education. It could be gender disparity, lack of awareness, then increasing community ownership and sustainability. So when you mobilize and when you have a community mobilization, when you identify one or two persons that you know that can address some of these issues in the community, it increases community ownership. What I mean by that, community begin to own whatever government properties in those communities. So you begin to have ownership. You begin to identify that this is our own, or this is my own. And when you own it, you begin to have value for it. There's a popular saying that when nobody owns, nobody cares. So we need to begin to own so many things in our communities so that we begin to care and begin to have value for it. And we said for ownership and sustainability, so that it will last long, so that it will bring peace. Because coming together and having deliberation, you'll be able to resolve so many crime even in the community as well. So as they create demand for intervention, you begin to identify issues, and you just finish a session on advocacy. You begin to look for a way to advocate for you to draw government attention, for you to begin to have issues that will be resolved. You understand? So another way that we can do that is through, when you identify all of this, is another way is through social media, using social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter handles, and all the rest, to advocate for good governance in our communities. So it is when you begin to identify, begin to attend those community meetings, and these are where you can identify issues like this and begin to advocate for them. I said it increased access to what? To service, and it's a scaling up of an intervention. And so these are why we are conducting community mobilization. The next slide, okay. Then benefit of community mobilization. Please take it again. Take it. Thank you. Benefit of community mobilization in a project or in our community. It increased community and individual or group capacity to what? To identify and satisfy their needs. It improved program design. It improved program quality, improved program result, improved program evaluation, cost-effective way to achieve a sustainable result. It increased community ownership of the program. This thing is still coming again. And so it's one of the benefits that it has a way of you now having this property or these facilities to become yours. To become yours. So these are the benefits that you gain when you organize a community mobilization, to be doing. But when we begin to come together, you just look for like-minded individual. Hello, can you hear me? Hello, Vash?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So thank you. Okay. So when you begin to identify like-minded people around your community, and you begin to come up with a way to resolve issues, little issues that are eluding some persons, then it's a way of what? Of identifying and creating a service or resolving those issues. But first, you need to identify those like-minded people. I mean, people that you know that they have the same ideas with you, and you know that, yes, you people, when you talk to them, they will be quick to address such issues. So these are the people you identify. And before you know it, other people will begin to join, because they will be the one to bring other people as well. And so the key tasks involved in community mobilization. One, you develop an ongoing dialogue between community members. Develop an ongoing dialogue with community members, creating or strengthening community organizations, that is a committee. I want to believe that we all have youth forums, youth organizations in our community. We have CBOs in our various communities. We can begin to identify with them. It's not a crime, for the benefit of our community, for the development of our community. Well, let's begin to identify with these youth groups in our community and begin to chip in one or two things on how to develop our communities. And let me tell you one thing, that if you have an idea, or if you have an ambition that you want to become a politician, or you want to come out for an elective position, I bet you that you need to start from your community. You need to start to begin to, because your community needs to identify with you. And how do you do that? It's by service. You need to begin to serve your community. These are little things. It's not about dashing money. And I want to tell you that these politicians know this very well. They connect easily when they go to the community and begin to identify with the community members. And so we can start with that. You can begin to start, you can begin to identify with people around your community and begin to carry out, simple community activities, or simple activities that can aid the progress of the community. Identify with such group and strengthen them. You say it creates an environment in which individuals can work and empower themselves to address their own and their community's health need. It's the same thing that I'm saying. So is it about clinic, or is it about health facilities in our communities, that sometimes you begin to see that one side of the roof in our hospitals or our maternities are being blown off. And so how do you, and maybe it's just one zinc. Maybe it will take 2,000 naira to just get a zinc and some few nails to nail it back. And there's a carpenter in this community that can actually do it pro bono, that can do it without pay. Why don't we identify with those kind of persons? Why don't, even if he's going to collect something, yes, it's labor. So why don't you begin to identify those kind of persons and begin to fix those things? Because before you know it, after 2-3 months, the whole roof can be blown off. So when you identify that, yes, and when the whole roof is blown off, you have lost a maternity or an hospital in your community. And it will take decades for government to come and begin to fix them. So let's begin to own these facilities in our communities. And in that case, one day when you come up to begin to ask for something, when you begin to seek for the vote of your community member, they will remember you that, yes, it was because of your effort that we are still having our primary school. It was because of your effort that we're still having the maternity in our communities. It was because of your effort that the primary health care is still standing. They will remember you for that. It promotes community members' participation. That's another one. People will begin to identify with you, and it will promote coexistence between members in the community. It will bring about securing the community as well. It will bring unity. Ordinarily, you find out that there's something in our community around the north here that it's Majalisa, right? Where people just things. When you begin to form using those development, it brings more other people. That is what I'm talking about. So it promotes community members' participation. Please, next slide. Now, working partnership with community members, it brings about identifying and supporting the creative potential, potential of communities to develop a variety of strategies and approaches, assisting in linking community with external resources, committing enough time to work with communities or with a partner who works with them. You see, when you begin to identify, you begin to come up with community mobilization, you will find out that sometimes an issue you identify or a community project that you want to execute might not be, all of you might not be able to carry out that community. That is when you begin to identify persons who are living outside the community begin to come in. You begin to identify them. Begin to write letters and begin to pay advocacy to them. That this is what you want to do. I've seen a scenario where a community without water, and they begin to come up with give him a pledge card because they don't have water. He will have a borehole for them, and he agreed. It was a result of community mobilization process that they came up with a meeting and they had the deliberation that so person, yes, there's an indication that he might clinch the ticket of their political party, and he might go ahead to win. And so they begin to come up with idea that this person will dig a borehole for us. And so when he won the election, he fulfilled that promise. It's as a result of what? Community participation. That somebody was able to come up with an idea that if we do this, we'll be able to achieve this. And so things like that come up during community meetings, through community meetings, through mobilization, and you'll be able to have the needs of the community being put in place. Next slide, please. Okay, so involving all stakeholders. What do we mean here? When you are going about community mobilization, ensure that everyone is carried out. Happy that Beko, everyone, including yourself, you are a stakeholder. Because if I ask who are stakeholders, you begin to mention politicians, religious leaders, traditional heads, and so on and so forth. The youth leaders, yes, including you. Farah Priest, Nuruddin Ahmed, Abalawan. So all of us are stakeholders in stakeholders. Why is it important to coordinate among all stakeholders? It is important. Everyone is important in a community. I don't know if you have heard this story before, where a school was to be cited in a community, and they had a meeting on how to come and build a classroom. A blind man who was by the roadside begging for alms was asking questions, what is happening? And reluctantly, one of them was able to explain that they had a meeting on how to come up with a school in that community. He was not carried along, and he answered, and everybody went on his or her way. And funny enough, this blind man's wife this blind man's daughter is married to the suburb chairman of that state. And that was how they were able to get that school. But he wasn't carried along at first. So he asked questions. So every community mobilization, and you want to express his or herself, because we are not the same. Everybody has his own different view. Everyone has his or her own different view, and my view might be different from that yours, and the other person's view might be different from that yours, and you might be the one that will bring a view that that is not very clear with me, that I might not be comfortable with, but he's comfortable with the majority. And so when we go ahead and implement such view, you could see that we'll have result. So everyone is important in as much as he's living in that community. And most of the times, okay, let's go to the next slide. Who are those? You say identification of deprived, neglected group. What do you think? Who are deprived and neglected people in your community? Why are they neglected? How can you enhance their participation? And sometimes we after carrying out, not from our state, but he's staying there, he's in that community. So he needs to be carried along because the experience he or she is having might not be the same with yours. Because you are not part, you are part and parcel of that community, whether you are, whether you are from that state or you are from that community or not. But as much as you are living in that community, you are part and parcel of that community. So begin to identify the deprived people and why are they deprived? Begin to identify those issues and how can they participate? How can they participate to enhance, to enhance their participation? What will you do to enhance their participation? That's what you need to do. And so identify even people living with disability to come around because there are issues that are affecting them as well. And so they need to voice out. They need to voice out so that so that those things can be can be merged with any issue that is being identified in the community. So that those things, when they resolve, they too can be part of because they are part of the community. So identify everyone in the community to be part of community mobilization. Example of what is it called? Marginalized person. Economically deprived group of persons are one. Sometimes women. We will have a meeting that will not call. We will not be able to call women to come, to be part of it. It's a big issue in our community today. Now we're having deliberation and you see that the whole meeting is being dominated by men. And so you are discussing something which is related by women. And there's this slogan we have in Littletot and we said, there's nothing about us without us. And so there's nothing about the woman without the woman. So anything that is related to the women need to be involved. You cannot be having an issue about the women and without calling the women to be part of that meeting. It's not something you can be. The elderly cannot be discussing something that is related to the youth. The youth need to be involved. So you identify these persons and issues that is affecting them and bring them along to resolve those issues. So identify everyone that is working. People, disabled people have said that, minority groups and others, you can name them, the list continue. So you need to identify people and identify everyone that is around, that is in that community for them to have a meeting. The role of community mobilizer. What are the roles of community mobilizer? As a community mobilizer, a mobilizer is a person who mobilizes, that is, get things moving, is a catalyst, is somebody that brings change. That is a mobilizer. And that is why I said is a catalyst. Is somebody that brings change to the community. So you are a mobilizer today. So you should be able to bring changes. You should be able to bring change in your community. There are some of those issues that are going on in your mind right now. How do you bring change? How do you resolve them? And so it's that if those questions keep bothering you, then begin to talk to one or two persons who have the same idea with you and begin to bring change to that community. Like I make mention of the drainage in our community. Like I make mention sometimes even where we call where we sit down to have deliberation. In our community is somehow dirty. How do we begin to clear around the surrounding? How do we begin to clear the surrounding? So bring people together. That is the role of a community mobilizer. You bring people together for what? For you to stimulate an action. You build trust in people as a community mobilizer. You learn to build trust. Encouraging participation. facilitating discussion and decision making, then helping things to run smoothly, facilitation in community mobilization process. These are your rules, these are your responsibility as a catalyst, as a change to your community. So you need to start from your community before you come to the larger society. So how to enhance the community participation? Okay, let me see from the chat group. Right one means to enhance participation. How do you think we can enhance participation in our communities? Let's go to our chat and let's see how you think we can enhance participation in our various communities. So I'm waiting. Okay, involve people that are affected. Very good. Thank you, Faria Praise. Advocacy and making them see benefits. Interesting. Thank you, Boluwaji Agbaje. Thank you, Adamu Mohammed. Through community sensitization. Interesting. Yes. How to enhance participation through community sensitization, creating awareness, taking the lead in the process. Thank you, Fimbong. Esther Ezra, thank you. Madi, thank you. Fola Shadi, thank you. Thank you. Interesting. Another one, state one example you have done. Have you done anyone before? Can I hear you? Have you done any community mobilization before? If yes, then let's hear it. Through influence, Haruna Tata, thank you. Farouk, creating awareness, yes. Yes, and how did you do it? One example. Maina Gambo, you said yes. Juliet Luca, you said yes. So can you give me one example, please? How did you enhance participation? Or one example that you have done to enhance community mobilization or community participation in your community? Through track record, okay. Creating awareness example, getting younger ones in to clear up the surrounding, picking and weeding. Thank you. Nomshi blessing, creating, okay, not just religious mobilization. Yes. Clean water sanitation, main Agambo, that's great. Increasing participation with social sharing. Okay, Farah, you said yes. Can you give me just one example? Farah, please. Okay, I think I saw something, somebody said, okay, community sanitation, increasing participation with social sharing, yeah. Somebody say hiking, let me see. Okay, Mohammed, hiking, okay, thank you. By raising concern to the community leaders on crime rates, interesting. Thank you. I might not be able to read all. Thank you, Sally Buka. Awareness creation through sensitization. Okay, very good. So, thank you. So you are a change agent. So you are a community mobilizer as well. Mobilizing people to vote during. Very good. Very, very good. So it's like Farah Praise said, he took my attention. He said, I mobilize people to vote during elections in my school. Thank you very much. You can as well do that now. It's electionary period in our country. Why don't we begin to mobilize people to go out to vote? Because there's a power in this, for you casting your vote. Yes, begin to mobilize people to go out, sensitizing your community, creating awareness, the importance of what? Of voting, of casting vote. And for those that don't have PVC, begin to identify them, begin to create that awareness for them to go out and get their PVC ready. And so that they'll be able to what? To cast their vote for their candidate, their choice candidate. So begin to mobilize that now. You did that in school, we can as well do that outside the school. And so it's a good one to begin to organize campaign for election for our country. So you can as well do that now. So thank you so very much. These are some of those things that you make mention, community meetings. The next slide, please. Yes, through community meetings, through gathering of people at a platform, through village literacy fair, through sport, like somebody make mention, like through hiking, through sport and games, pamphlet, excuse me, or handout being distributed to members. So skill needed for community mobilizer, your attitude matters a lot. Yes, your attitude is very, very important. A willingness to what? To examine and challenge their own assumption or opinion and belief. So what's your attitude towards what you have just identified? I mean, bringing people together. And so your attitude matters a lot. Genuine respect for all community members. They must have seen you to be somebody that is easygoing, that have true, belief for your community. You must have, make one or two things in the community for them to know that, yes, if it is about you, this thing will work well. If it is about Benjamin, I understand very well that, no, let's go. He's the one calling for this meeting. A non-judgmental and accepting approach. And understanding that different people have different views and perspective. You must have come to that understanding that people you are bringing to that meeting or for that community mobilization are people with different ideas, with different views, with different perspectives from yours. You must not be the one to say yes. To say what is in your mind, and you just want to expect. You just expect them to agree with you. No, you must give room for people that differs in one idea or the other. Somebody believe in community capacity to take effective action. So these are some of the skills that you need. Like I make mention, your attitude is very, very important. Secondly, is your skills. Your skills, good communication skills, especially listening. You must be somebody who is patient and will listen carefully to whatever that is being said before you draw conclusion. You must not jump into conclusion. You must be a good communication. You must have good communication skills. A good facilitator, you must be a good facilitator as well, to enable communities to conduct their own analysis of their lives and situation. You must participatory learning and action and other techniques to help facilitation awareness of political, gender, and cultural issues and relationships. An ability to challenge assumption sensitively, e.g. about the role of women. Yes, we are in an era where when we advocate for women participation, some people will come up to say, must they be part of us? Yeah, you should have a way that you can address that, not confrontational. You must have a way of identifying those ideas that you want to put forward for you to be in for, not against. So you must have all those things in place. So these are some of the skills. And the next one is knowledge. You must be knowledgeable. The community mobilizer or community mobilization process, you must have a knowledge about community mobilization process on how to gather people, who to identify, who you are bringing in. You must have them in place. The principles of community mobilization, you must have all these principles in place. Knowledge of education or health-related issues and problem, causes and effect. From this the session before this one on advocacy, he said, I listened to him and he made mention of you must have facts or data. You must have research on issues that you want to talk about, that you want the community to address. You must have what? Carried out those you must have carried out those research. You must have carried out research or personal stories from the problem that you want to address, so that you will not just say something that somebody will be there to counter you. Then understanding of the ethical issues related to community mobilization. And so your mode of dressing is another way, more especially when you are going out for community mobilization, when you are going outside your community. Because why I'm saying outside your community, in your own community, you might have, in one way or the other, know the norms and the culture, everything that is related to that community. So, but when you are going outside your community, you must have good knowledge of the community that you are going to. So you must have good knowledge, and you must understand their ways of life, so that you will not offend somebody. Thank you. So other skills and knowledge that may be needed at different stages in the community mobilization process include an ability to help communities form organization. You must have the ability to, because maybe there's no youth group in the community. You can be the one to pioneer a youth forum or a youth group in your community. So begin to form one, and so that you set a target and goals for vision and mission for that youth group. What do you want them to be doing in that community? And when is the meeting time? An ability to identify capacity building need among communities. Somehow you need to identify people who will come and what? And build capacity in that group that you are forming as well. An ability to help community mobilizing resources. I make mention of an issue or a project that you want to embark on, and you don't have the resources around, and you begin to form advocacy team that will be advocating for resource mobilization. You begin to form an advocacy team that will go out and begin to source for what? For fund for that project to be executed. And I want to believe that some of us have served in the National Service Corps, that's the NYC. You could see one or two persons coming up with community development in places where they have been, they are posted to. So, and this is a very good example of community mobilization. When they find out that they will not have the resources, or they don't have the resources to carry out an activity, they begin to what? To write letters and begin to pay advocacy to people who can sponsor that project. You have done it. Some of us have done it in our various places of primary assignment. You can as well begin to replicate that right now in our communities. How do you do that? Form a group, form advocacy group that will begin to identify people that will be able to support that project in that community. Could it be road? Is it pipe or water? Is it school education or a health care system? A project planning and management skills, and so on and so forth. So next slide, please. Here are some qualities of community mobilizer. Like we make mention, we said you must what? Must have a good communication skill. You must have good facilitation skills, a good listener, a very committed person and decision maker, very active and have the negotiation skills. You must be what? Honest. You must be honest. Your A must be A. If there's a resources, if there are resources in your disposal, you must what? Account for such. You must account for such. Because community detests a dishonest person. And so when they begin to smell a foul play, you begin to see them withdrawing back. So know somebody who is known to culture and values of what? Of society. A very well dressed is coming up here again. I say is a catalyst. It must be a catalyst, somebody who will bring change to the community, or somebody who have management skill. You can manage people. You can manage people and work around issues that are springing up even within the community. Next slide, please. Thank you. So the do's and don'ts, in our communities. You've heard a lot about what is expected to be done in the community. So can we talk about, or can you write out communities, what we should do and what we should not do in our community when carry out community mobilization? What do you think we should do? Or what do you think we shouldn't do? if you are listening to me, if we are still together, can I hear from you? Okay, I see someone saying we need to start solving advocacy and seeking for, okay, well, where is that person? Improving good hygiene in our local areas, awareness on peaceful coexistence among, okay, we actually need to start solving some of our minor problems. Main Agambo, thank you, I hope so too. Abdurrahman, Muazu said, I think so, Mena. I just listened, the voice not seeing anything. Okay, I don't understand that. Farah, knowing the culture of the community, yes, thank you. Abdurrahman, don't go is almost time. Okay, who wants to go somewhere? Okay, respect our differences, very good. Avoid sentiment, very good, which is very important. We should not criticize the culture and belief of others. Thank you, Deborah. That's awesome. That's very good. Yes, we should involve community leaders and we should be ready to listen to the community. Melody Nasara, thank you. Respect our differences, Ambassador Bashir. I see that. I see that. Respect, thank you, Nomshi. Jamil Bashir, awareness about hygiene, okay? When you notice a problem in a community, don't just assume that it's their problem, but let the people point it. Okay. Thank you, Juliet Luca. Avoid bias. Yes, let's break the bias. Thank you, Farah. Okay. Knowing the norms and values, avoid sentiment or differences. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so very much. That shows that we're following. Please, next slide. Yes. Most importantly, have a feed diary. Have something, carry something along when you are going out for advocacy or for community mobilization. Make sure you have something in your hand, a pen and a paper, a book, a diary that you will write. Do not think you have everything on your head. I mean, yeah, you have a magnetic brain that, don't worry, I will record I will understand everything. No, sir. There are things that will elude you when you come back to begin to think about those issues that have been discussed. So sometimes you need to jot them down. You need to jot some things down. The diaries is very, very important. Why do you need to capture the information on paper when we have brain? Why do we talk about report writing? Okay, let me hear from you again. Why do you need to capture, even though I've given you expo, why do we need to capture the information on paper when we have brain? For references, yes. For references, to be productive to our community. Okay, Cecilia said for references. Thank you. To do better than next time, yes. For individual details and references, first-hand data, thank you. For accuracy, it's wrote never change, yes. If it's wrote, it's never change, that's good. For documentation, thank you for references and all of that. So very good. So you need your diary, because sometimes there are issues that are being discussed that will need to be addressed, or there's a date that will be fixed that for you to come back after the advocacy. So some of these things need to be documented, and the dates need to be fixed before you go back and begin to think, when did he say? Is it on Tuesday or on Thursday? Is it Thursday? Is it Tuesday? Was he saying Tuesday, or is it Saturday or Sunday? I can't remember. But when you have it written, date, time, you will not forget. So it's important you go with diary and you begin to fix those and begin to write those things down.
Hello, everyone. Sorry, we just lost the network of some persons, but I'm sure Mr. Nicholas is coming back.
Hello?
So since you're saying something and we can't hear you.
Hello, Sean?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, can you hear me now? Wow. Okay.
Yes, we can
you hear me, everyone?
you.
Okay, thank you so very much. So sorry, my apologies. The network kicked me out. I think Tech network is having an issue, and I'm back on MTN. And so thank you. I don't know if I can share my slide from here. Okay, so like I was saying, I said, so some of the content you need on your diary, purpose of visit, activities carried out, accomplishment, your output, what have you been able to achieve? Were you able to achieve something? When are you coming back? The follow-up, when are you coming back? Like I said. So next, I said the role of community mobilizer. What is your role? You know your goals. If you do not know where you are going to, then certainly you don't know where you don't know the road. Every road will lead to anywhere. So you need to define where you are going to. So know your goals and your target community, the people you are, you know the skills you need, and know the basic concept. Yeah, then you outside resources. You are sometimes when we talk about resources here, people look at money, but most of the times, even time for people to come is resources. The people that are coming as well. So these are some of the basic requirements or your role as a mobilizer. And so, and you know, those your qualities that you need for you to carry out a successful community mobilization. Like I said, you cannot when you are addressing people, so that you not cause distraction. So you not cause distractions in when you are talking to them about an important issue. And so sometimes we pay attention to some of these things, not for anything. It's because of your own safety, your own good, and for people to identify with you. So it's very good that you know some of these qualities that you need as a community mobilizer or as a mobilizer that you are. And so, and I want to believe that henceforth, you should be able to solve this little problem like somebody has advocated in our communities, in our various communities. We need to begin to fix all this, some of these. If you want to identify with them, you need to start by what? By service. I'm repeating that again. So you need to identify with them so that you begin to what? Because tomorrow you will come back and need them again for a vote or for anything. They will be the one to stand for you. So let's learn to stand with our community by what? By creating service. So thank you so very much. I want to stop here. And I believe that maybe just like the network has kicked me out, so many people might not be online as well. Thank you so very much. Is there a question that I might maybe would can entertain from my end here? Thank you. Thank you, Aruna Tata. That's heartwarming. Thank you, Aruna. I appreciate. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Cecilia Olga. Modi Anatu. Thank you. Thank you to Jamila. Jamil, rather, sorry. Thank you, Jamil. Thank you, Melody. Thank you, Ahmed Tijani. Any question? Nuruddin, yes, I appreciate.
Okay.
Yes,
if you have any question.
Okay. Okay, Numshi Blessing said, so it means being.
If you have any question, raise your hands quickly. Okay, yes, so one.
Yes.
So Cecilia, unmute yourself and ask your question quickly.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nicholas, for the amazing session.
Thank you, sir.
Cecilia, unmute yourself.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So my question goes like this. In a situation where you are staying in a community, okay, let's say you went to that community for a particular purpose, like a student now, and you notice a kind of reoccurring problem and you wanted helping, but the people sees you as a stranger. They don't want you to even talk to them or mobilize them on anything. What do you do? Like you keep trying, you even go ahead to like meet one of their local security agents to talk to him about the thing, but he will be like, you are a child, like you are being underestimated. What do you do?
Okay, thank you so very much. Were you here on the first session? Okay, yeah. So very good. So you start with advocacy. Now, yeah. That community have a community head. And so target the community head, target the community chief or the community head or the community leader, however you want to call that person. So don't go alone. Identify persons that will go on advocacy with you. You identify an issue. This is the issue. And like I said, don't be confrontational. Go with the issue and begin to tell them this is what this, if it is not being resolved, this is what it will cause. And so when you identify those issues and pay advocacy, this is what you can offer. Do you understand? Oh, this is what you can offer. So I want to believe that they will not see you as a child again. Identify one or two persons and go with the security person that you just make mention of. And that you identify one or two persons that have the same idea, what you are seeing, that are seeing the same thing the same thing that you are seeing. And so you go with an advocacy message.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir.
And so community mobilization will begin. Oh, that's true. And because maybe you are approaching it in a different way that is not clear to them. And so go with somebody, maybe you don't even understand their language very well. Maybe you are speaking English while they want to hear Hausa. And so that is the mistake some of us used to make, that, don't worry, why is it that they don't understand English? Must I speak English? You must. You're in their community. And so I have to learn this language.
This man understands Hausa very well, English very well. Although he knew very well that I'm a stranger in the place, I don't understand much of the Hausa. It's only the greeting and some peripheral aspects of it. And we do talk like normal talk. We can chat and greet like in a mutual way. So when I went to him, I did not even went alone. I went with one of my friends like that. Her room was boggled. This thing happened in Bauchi, Gwalameji precisely.
Okay.
So we talked to him after everything, because he told me that if I have any issue in that environment, I should come and tell him. So after telling him that this is what we have been encountering during my ND, so thing happened, and I don't know where to run to. And this, my friend, is a victim as well. So the man was like, I won't understand. You get? So initially I was suggesting that, okay, maybe we should have student and security agency that will just once in a while that will run the whole environment in the night and be checking what is happening. The man
Okay.
told me that I won't understand.
Okay,
And
okay.
anytime
I think I understand
anytime I bring up the issue, he will tell me I'm a child, I won't understand. I should just leave it. After all,
why don't you start with,
hello?
hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, why don't you start with your SUG and begin to, yes, why don't you start with your SUG, and SUG now, Student Union Government, coming to meet that community leader that you just identified.
Okay,
it's
sir.
another way. It's another way you can resolve that.
Of course, it's true, sir.
Very good. So start with your SUG, identify with somebody, and meet your SUG ESCOs when they are having meetings and discussing with them. Then share the burden. Share that burden with them. This is student issues now. This is what is disturbing the entire Gwalameji, not you as a person. And so mobilize one or two persons that you know that are influential to our students and go with them, share this idea with them, go with them to the student union. Then the student union can begin to talk to the school authority and how to bring peace to that environment. I think that will work. Yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
So thank you so very much. I saw, okay, very good. So Numshi Blessing question says, it means being a mobilizer is a one-man team. It begins with you actually, before growing to a larger number. And sometimes you begin to see that not only you that is seeing what you are seeing. Maybe talking to one person, you say, oh, is it your mind too? Oh, you mean this problem was disturbing you too? So you begin to, strategize on how to get things done in the community. Haruna Tata, sir, can you guide me, because I want to start it practically. Yes. How do you want to start practically? What identify issues in your community, then begin to form allies, get one or two persons that understand that problem and begin and swing into action. Now, let me tell you one thing. I met a lady in one of the training we had in Yobe State, and we just carelessly asked a question. How many of you have done something like this before? And it will surprise you to know that a lady raised her hand up and said she started cleaning their surrounding, and her brother joined her. Cecilia Oga, sorry, please, can you mute yourself? Thank you. So, and she started alone. Aruna Tata, I hope you are listening. She started alone and her brother joined her. And right now is a community now. That thing has metamorphosed into a committee. And so it is something that is being done. It's a routine now that they even have meetings going on. And also they fix, I think, is it every Thursday or is it Saturday that they come out to clean the entire community. And so they have formed a committee, and she is now the storekeeper, because all the wheelbarrows, the cutlasses, just name them for cleaning, are now in her possession. And so they now have a chairman. They have formed a committee. And so you can start with that in a practical aspect. Any other question?
Okay. Have you seen any? Okay. First of all, there are some questions were not attended to in the first session. Unfortunately, because of the network, I've lost track of those questions. I want to apologize to all of you that from tomorrow, we will try to take note of all those questions and see how they can be attended to.
Okay, I can come back for the question. I mean, to address those questions tomorrow if you have time.
If you're able to track them, we'll just check them out.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir. We really appreciate you very much. Sharing. I believe today has been another inspiring moment. Yes, I can see people's response. I've really learned something great today. Thanks so much, sir. So everyone,
thank you.
I have a group work for us. It's a follow-up to what Mr. Nicholas taught. I'm sure all of you can see this, right? So it's a follow-up to what Mr. Nicholas and Mr. Beko taught us today. So take note, everybody. As a group of change agents, your community is experiencing a challenge and you need to advocate to certain people to get the challenge solved. Craft an advocacy plan and highlighting the issue, the stakeholders, step-by-step actions for the advocacy issue with timeline and persons responsible from your team. Draft the advocacy message. You have to submit this assignment on Saturday, 12th of March, 2022 via littletot@gmail.com. Please note that this assignment, you should do it carefully because you'll be expected to use the plan to do a practical advocacy intervention. So take note, let's identify the issues. I will encourage you to be fast in your thinking, identify issues of political issues, service delivery issues, economic issues, but look at something, don't forget the SMART goal in your advocacies. That it has to be something you can do, something that is workable, something realistic. So I hope it's noted. This assignment will be posted on the WhatsApp group so that all of you can take note of it. So group leaders, I want you to all contact Vashira. Some of you have not submitted your assignments. So you have what you did yesterday, the group work you did yesterday. Today,